hearts being open to what you have for us. We pray. In Jesus' name, amen.
Y'all give God a big hand this morning. I really think y'all could do better clapping. But one more. Yay! You know what that yay was for? I don't have to listen to you. Yay! Hey, just a couple of things I want to touch on for as far as the announcements. Remember, 18 to 30s small group meeting or life group meeting will be March 15th. Also, next Sunday, Saturday, what happens? Time change, all right? So jump up and spring forward. Next Sunday, don't forget about that. And we have an Easter goal. Now, I'm doing something I've never, ever done before, and they tell me you guys do a sunrise service. Well, I didn't know the sun came up twice a day. So we will do a sunrise service at the ungodly hour of 5:45 in the morning. Somebody better have a big thing of coffee ready for your pastor, okay? We will do sunrise, followed by breakfast and all that. So we invite you, we encourage you to come out and celebrate the fact that he is alive. Amen? Amen. Now, we have an Easter attendance goal that I think, based on this morning, we can knock this thing out of the park in the bottom of the first inning and win this thing. But I need your help. Can we do it, church? Yes. What's the goal? Y'all do pay attention. Yeah, you heard her. Oh, you weren't here last week. That's right. You were in the back. That's right. 125 or more. Now, I'll tell you a simple trick. If you say one word, you'll get on here. Food. Right? I promise you. They will come if you say food. So last Sunday, we started a new series briefly, and we'll wrap it up next week. We started a new series called Difference Makers. I mean, were y'all blessed last week with that difference maker? I mean, that was God. I mean, it's a good thing. But I want to talk about, can I really make a difference? Am I capable? How many of you thought that? Huh? Am I capable of being a difference maker? I want to introduce you this morning to 3 people that you don't know, but they made a difference in your life. And I want to see how smart you are. Lord help us. All right. But they made a difference in your life. I promise you this. You ready? Number 1. How many of you would say Alexander Graham Bell has made a difference in my life? What did he invent? God knows you don't leave the house without a cell phone in your pocket, right? Would you say that he's made a difference in your life? Yes. It's attached to, I mean, come on. We have upgraded from the little round-up phones that look like a jack-in-the-box. Somebody's going to come out and slap you on the other end. So now we take pictures with them, and we won't even go into that. But it's made a difference in our life. Charles was around before they had cell phones. He can tell you how big of a difference. I'm just kidding. Party lines. Or the old switchboard operators, let me transfer you here. Way before my time. Hey, if you want to mess up a teenager, show them a rotary phone and ask them to make a call. I love rotary phones, right? How many of you, honest to goodness, you have no idea what I'm talking about? I told you they have no clue. Show them a rotary phone and tell them, ask them to take a picture with it. Send me the video. We'll play it next Sunday. Anyway, how about this guy? In fact, we're benefiting from this right now. A guy by the name of Thomas Edison. How many of you know Thomas Edison? What did he invent? Thank God. Because if the lights go out, this party's over. Hey, Jennifer and I were in a revival one time, and that's exactly what happened. Poor preacher was right in the middle of his sermon. It wasn't me, but the lights went out. And so we all started saying, where were you when the lights went out? We were at revival. So it makes a difference. Have you ever went to the bathroom in the middle of the night and it's dark? Do you thank God for Thomas Edison and the lights? If you just stub your toe, right? Now this next person, Charles, has made a radical difference in all of our lives, but nobody will get it. Ruth Graves. Anybody know who Ruth Graves is? She is a gang to I love this lady. Somewhere genetically we are related. Do you know what she invented and it's made a difference in your life? She invented the chocolate chip cookie. Thank God. Woo-hoo! Go Ruth! Woo! Ruth Walls. That was fun. Anyway, been thinking about her this week. Ruth Graves. We love you, Ruth Graves. You invented, do you know, random worthless fact, Jason, you can take with you and share it with everybody and nobody will give a rip. Do you know on a daily basis we consume as Americans 1.9 million chocolate chip cookies a day? I do half that by myself. Yep. But she's made a difference in our lives, hasn't she? You walk by the freezer aisle, there they are. 20 minutes of heaven awaits you. Or, if you want to be lazy, just go buy the Oreo pack. Chips Ahoy! Hey, thank you, Ruth. Amen. So she has made a difference in our lives. If you ever want to get on your pastor's good side, thank you, Ruth Graves. You'll be on my good side for a long time. They've made differences. But did you know the worst lie that you and I will ever believe about ourselves is this, that we are just ordinary, normal people? That's a lie. If you spend 5 minutes with Christopher Charles, you'll realize there's no such thing as normal. It's true. You know why it's a lie? Because that we're not ordinary or normal everyday people, because God doesn't know how to make normal and everyday people. He makes extraordinary people that do extraordinary things with the gifts that God has given them. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are not ordinary because God didn't call us or make us to be ordinary. He's called us to be extraordinary for His purpose. So the next time somebody tells you you're ordinary, says, my pastor told me otherwise. Because the God that made me can't do ordinary stuff. In fact, my Bible says, y'all with me? Anybody with me? My Bible says that He does exceedingly and abundantly, above all and beyond whatever we could think or imagine. Does that sound like an ordinary God to you? Does that sound like the God that paints the stars and just makes ordinary people? No. Does that sound like a God that can raise the dead, that just does ordinary things in ordinary people's lives? Listen, if you are here this morning and you have breath in your lungs, you have purpose from God. You have a job to do. And we're going to talk about a job that was really awkward. In fact, if you hate your job this morning, you might need to tune in because it could be a lot worse. I want to introduce you this morning to the book of Nehemiah in the Old Testament. In fact, if you are a church leader, a business leader, if you're any kind of leader at all, I would encourage you to take some time over the next couple of weeks and dive into the book of Nehemiah. Why should I do that? That is probably the single greatest book in all Scripture on leadership. If you've ever studied Nehemiah, you'll understand where I'm coming from. So if you're a leader, you have homework assignment. I want you to break down. It's not a very long book. They speak English in most parts of the book of Nehemiah. But read it. Break it down. I want to introduce you this morning to a guy by the name of Nehemiah, who everybody thought was ordinary, but an extraordinary God made him for an extraordinary purpose. Are you ready this morning? Nehemiah chapter 1. We'll get that popped up on the screen for you. Nehemiah chapter 1. See, now I'm dependent on this screen thing. Now, I'm going to tell you, there are words in here that my college education did not pay me to say. All right? The words of Nehemiah, son of Hezekiah, in the month of Kislev, in the 20th year, while I was in the citadel of Susa, here we go. Hang on while I bring my Bible on stage. Hananiah, one of my brothers, came from Judea with some of the other men, and I questioned him about the Jewish, I can't see that, remnant that had survived the exile, and also about Jerusalem. Now, something drastic is about to happen in Nehemiah's life right here. His brother's about to give him some news that just racks into the core. Look here. They said, those who survived the exile are back in the province and are in great trouble and disgrace. The walls of Jerusalem is broken down, and its gates have been burned with fire. Nehemiah's response to this is devastating. Look what he says. And when I heard these things, I sat down and wept. Have you ever been there in life? Have you ever gotten news that was so gut-wrenching to the core that the only thing that you could do was sit down, put your hands in your face, and just cry? Because that was the only way you knew how to respond. You know what that's called? That's called God waking you up. God grabbing your attention and saying, hey, there's more to life than what you see right now. Is it true to say that we are people that only see circumstances when God sees provision? Hello? Hello? Nehemiah sat down and wept. For some days I mourned, but I want you to catch what he did while he was in mourning. He fasted. Somebody said fasted. Oh, good job, bro. And prayed. He fasted and prayed before the God of heaven. He fasted. He cried. He prayed. But God gave him a job. Has God ever wrecked you? Has God ever just wrecked your world? Let's be honest. Has God ever just shook you to the very core of who you were? And you didn't know how to respond, so the only response that you did was sit down and just had your good old self a cry. You ever had sometimes a good time is all you need? Amen? I know what you guys, I don't cry. Bull. Once your bank account goes to zero, you'll cry. You know what difference makers do? You can be a difference maker, or you can be a person that just exists. How many of you want to just exist? I don't, because God didn't make me to just exist. God made us to make a difference, ladies and gentlemen. And sitting in a church on Sundays doesn't cut it. I want to do more than come to church on Sunday. I want to take something and make a difference in my life. But there's a question that difference makers ask. And it's this. What just messes me up? What bothers me? Does anything bother you? Don't look at your spouse. That is not where I am. Does anything just really bug you? And when you see it, your first response is, man, somebody ought to do something about that. Let me give you an example. Traffic in Nashville, it bothers me. Amen. I don't even go to Murfreesboro. I would rather be in a cake full of rattlesnakes than drive to Murfreesboro. Anybody else? Amen. It's safer in the rattlesnake. Difference makers ask the question, what can I do about this? They don't try to pass it off and put it off on Chris and say, hey, Chris, this is really irking me. Can you take care of that? Difference makers goes, this bugs me. I must do something about this. In verse 4, Nehemiah wept, fasted, and prayed because God broke him. Has God ever broke you? To where I've got to do something. If something doesn't happen, I'm going to be responsible. And here's what broke Nehemiah. His hometown, the city of Jerusalem, that had gates, a.k.a., I'm just going to throw this out here, Chris, it's called wall protection, baby. They had been in ruins, burnt down to the core for 142 years, and it wrecked Nehemiah. What's the big deal, preacher? Why is Nehemiah so unemotionally upset about something seemingly so worthless? It's a big deal. Because in the days of Jerusalem and in Nehemiah's days, here's what happened. If you didn't have wall protection or gate protection, you set yourself up for the enemy to come into your country, seize everything that you have, destroy your land, destroy your home, destroy your lives, and or run you out somewhere else. So gates were not a bad thing. Walls were not a bad thing. They served a purpose, and it was to protect the people. Can you imagine? How many of you are native Murfreesboroans? Is that a word? Like you were born here, you were beat here, and you still live here. Like you were raised, this is home, right? All right, now I know who the boy just been a little more work being done, we would be at the city council, wouldn't we? We would be raising Cain. Why didn't you? That's where Nehemiah is. But he's not blaming anybody. He's looking outwardly to see, how can I make a difference? And you know what God did to Nehemiah? He goes, Nehemiah, I want you to build the wall. Wrecked. Nehemiah. Harvest, I want you to hear the foundation of Nehemiah's difference-making abilities. Are you ready? Some of you won't get this. Difference makers do different things than other people. We don't act the same. We don't talk the same. We don't handle things the same way. But do you notice what Nehemiah did? He prayed. Can y'all say that with me? He prayed. Hey, Harvest View, do we want to be a church that makes a difference, or we just want to be a church that gathers on Sundays? If we want to be a church that makes a difference and radically sees life change, then ladies and gentlemen, we must pray. I know this is not popular in the Baptist realm. We must fast before God. That goes against Ruth Grace. You cannot eat her cookies. There's always a sacrifice that has to be made. Nehemiah prayed before God. Are y'all with me? Are y'all lost? But here's where people come. Hey, Chris, this is what people do. They come up to me and they go, but Pastor, I'm just a stay-at-home mom. Pastor, I'm just a factory worker. Pastor, I'm just ordinary. I can't make a difference. I'm just me. I'm not anything special. I'm glad that Dave Ramsey didn't think that way. Did you know Dave Ramsey went from broke to rich 4 times? How do you do that? That's a special kind of silly or stupid. Y'all call it what you want to. 4 times. And he could have said, well, I'm just going to be broke and rich the rest of my life. Money doesn't make you happy. Well, I'm willing to give it a shot. Somebody say amen. And he thought to himself, there's got to be a better way. So what he did was, he founded in 1994 something called Financial Peace University with 8 people, a.k.a. 4 couples, and they decided that they were going to make a difference in people's lives. And here we are years later because somebody refused to be normal, and somebody decided that he was going to make a difference, and now over $5 billion people have gotten out of debt because Dave Ramsey refused to be normal. Aren't you glad? Yeah. Made a difference. Walt Disney refused to be normal. How many of you know the Walt Disney story? That he wanted to create a place that was family filled and that they could rob you blind and make you smile. Walt Disney is the only place on the planet that you can pay $22 for a Diet Coke and be happy about it. I mean, come on now. But he wanted a family-centered party. Do you know Walt Disney had been fired from a newspaper job simply for the fact that he was not creative enough? But he refused to be normal. He decided, I'm going to do something. I'm going to make a difference. Now look at it. Now who's laughing? The newspapers that said he was not creative enough. Maybe one of the most innovative, creative people that we have ever seen. So let me ask you, do you have what it takes to be a difference maker? The answer is real clear, and you're not too young. The answer is yes. You can make a difference. Look at what happens at Charlie. This is so cool. Can I tell y'all a secret? You're not going to hear it in a lot of places. In fact, you're not going to hear it in a lot of churches. But I want to say this. I want everybody to hear it because I just feel like we need to focus on this for a second. Prayer still makes all the difference.
Amen.
Did y'all hear that? Are y'all bored? I don't feel like I'm doing a good job this morning. Y'all making me nervous. There ain't nobody laughing. Let me say, I didn't say prayer makes some of the difference. Prayer makes all the difference. Put that on Facebook. Prayer makes all the difference. It still makes a difference. Hey, demons and devils in hell still tremble when a child of God gets on his knees and prays. They still get upset when people go before the throne of God and they pray and they pray and they pray. Hey, I'm here to tell you today, prayer makes all the difference. Check it out. Look at verse chapter 2. It's not on the screen, so we actually got to look in our Bible. It's really bad. Look what happens. He gets wrecked by God to rebuild the wall, to make a difference. It's one man that fasted, wept, and prayed that makes all the difference. To rebuild a wall that's been down for 142 years. Process that. Process what's about to happen. Then, chapter 2, verse 1, in the month of Nisan, in the 20th year, King, I'm going to call him Art. Okay, we're going to call him Art. When the wine was brought to him, I took the wine and gave it to the king. I had not been sad in his presence before. Hold up. Nehemiah had a job. And if you think your job stinks, you've never had this job. Nehemiah was the cupbearer to the king. Now, what in the world does a cupbearer to the king do? It's exactly what it sounds like. He took the cup of wine to the king. Now, I know people, and you know people, that wine would have never made it to the king. Woo-hoo! Right? This is the best job ever. I can work and get sliced. Well, not with this guy's job. The cupbearer's job was to test the wine. This gets better, preacher, keep on! Was to test the wine to make sure it was not poison. Now, well, how do we know if it's poison? If the cupbearer drops dead, nobody's touching that wine. That's a bad job. Being a crocodile dentist, that's a bad job. Being the guy that has to paint the Golden Gate Bridge, that's a bad job. But it's not as bad as being the cupbearer. It's the most powerful man in the entire known world. Given between chapter 1 and chapter 2, 4 months have passed. Let me ask you a question before we move on. And I feel like I'm on repeat. Is my on repeat? Okay. What are you willing to risk to make a difference? I mean, not just taking a glass of wine to Chris and saying, hey, I tasted it, buddy, it's pretty good. That's not making a difference. Nehemiah is about to put his life in jeopardy for what God has called him to do. You ever thought about that, Jason? That sometimes to be what God wants us to be requires God removing us from where we are to take us somewhere greater than we can ever imagine. Sometimes to be a difference maker in life, you have to get uncomfortable. And we hate change, right? Like, well, I mean, it just messes us up. Y'all will be out of whack for 2 weeks when the time moves up. Proof. Because you'll lose an hour. Some of you, never mind. It won't matter for some. Beauty sleep, it's not going to bite for me. It's not going to. Let me tell you a story. I was going to figure out how to work this in. God has a way of making us uncomfortable. Friday, I'm driving to the office. Not literally into the office, but I'm driving to the office. My phone rings. Number one, don't talk on your phone in Tennessee and drive unless it's your boss. Then you got an okay. Maybe. Depends who the cop is. And then you just call Betsy and go, Betsy! Long story. My boss called me. Does anybody else just turn really pale and get really nauseous when your boss is calling you? Happened to me. You are the boss, man. That ain't fair. My boss called me. So I'm risking it all to talk to this guy. Very good. I'm like, what'd I do, boss? That's how I answer. I'm like, what'd I do? You didn't do it. And so we go on talking for a little while, and he goes, hey, you want a promotion? Well, yes. Yes, I do. Are you interested? Well, yes. Yes, I am. Do I get to fire people? Absolutely. Take it. Go on. And it's not just a little like, hey, we're going to take you from the doormat guy to the door opener guy. You know, we're going to take you up, buddy. Here's the problem. I've gotten comfortable where I was. Gotten confident where I was. And now all of a sudden God goes, boom! I want you to shake it up a little. Why? To make a difference somewhere else. Nehemiah had to risk it all to go make a difference. And he goes before the king, and the king knows that his countenance wasn't right. Something's off about you. People say that about me for 35 years. Something's off with this boy. Did you know by law, brother, it was not okay for you to go into the king's presence without an invitation, but if you work for him, you better not go in there and have a bad day and show it. Aren't you glad? Can I just preach for a second? Let's get some shouting going on because it's quiet and it feels like I'm in a Methodist church. Aren't you glad that we can go before the King of the universe just as we are, and there's no appointment necessary, and that we can lay it all out before him, and there's no restrictions? I don't have to taste any wine. I don't have to do anything special. All I have to do is get on my knees and cry out, Abba, Father, and he takes us, and he hears us, and he listens to us just the way we are. That is the God that you serve. That is the God that I serve. There are no prerequisites required. Jesus says, come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Are you hurt this morning? Come to Jesus. Are you rejoicing this morning? Hey, come to Jesus. Are you happy this morning? Come to Jesus. Are you mad this morning? Take it out on your spouse and come to Jesus. But ladies and gentlemen, aren't you glad that we serve a God that takes us just the way we are? Aren't you glad? Man. One of these days, they'll clap and shout, Bruce, and I won't know what to do. Woo! I'm going to preach Jesus hot, whether y'all like it or not. Oh, right that one there. Woo! You got to preach the fire from the pulpit, right? All right. We got to wrap this thing up. I want to give you these few points this morning. Number one. I will because I can. Make a difference not because you want to, but because you can. Nehemiah got a team of people together. They went before the king. This is why I say prayer makes all the difference. The king granted him favor over it. It would, watch, church, it would not have happened had Nehemiah not prayed and fasted first. Can I be honest with you? This is the same king that stopped construction on rebuilding the wall years earlier. Nehemiah goes into the presence of the king and says, hey, king, I want to restart the project. I want to rebuild the wall. Had he not prayed and fasted first, you know what would have happened? The king would have struck him dead right there. Prayer makes all the difference. Can we agree? Yeah. Not only does the king say, yeah, if that's what's wrecked your life, if that's why you look so sad and down and out, do it. Then Nehemiah gets real double-ended. You know what he does? He goes, well, will you write me some permission slips so that as I travel, I can tell people that you, sir, gave me permission to do this? And the king goes, sure, here's what's happening. Ladies and gentlemen, God made that king to eat out of Nehemiah's hand because he prayed and fasted first. Can Nehemiah has the king of the world in his hands, but it's only because he went to the king of the universe first.
That's right. That's right.
That'll shake some windows, won't it? Not only that, I'm good. I got permission slips, I got the king's favor. Here's what else the king does. This is like a really good car salesman that really wants your pocketbook, right? He says, on top of that, I'll send armies to protect you while you travel. Chris, I'm waiting on the army, bro. You don't think that happens had he not prayed and fasted first? No way. I can because I will. Harvest View, this next one's for all y'all. Y'all ready? Because we can, we will. Well, dang, that didn't go over so well, boy. We'll say that one. Y'all need to look at that one. Because we can, we will. Hey, Harvest View, because we can make a difference, we will make a difference. Because everybody's counted us out and said it's not even worth it. They're down to nothing, but God's up to something. Because we can make a difference, we will make a difference. And we're not going to let hell or high water stop us. We're coming in. We're going to make a difference in Kittrell. We're going to make a difference in Rutherford County. We're going to make a difference in Murfreesboro. In fact, if y'all just hold on a little bit, it's not going to be too long, and God's going to say, hey, Harvest View, not only are you making a difference in the county, now you're making a difference in your country. You know why? Because we're going to be a church that's known for praying. We're going to be some praying maniacs in this church because when we pray, God grants favor.
That's right.
Oh, y'all didn't get that. When we pray, Ken, God gives favor.
Amen.
Thank God, somebody got excited. It worked for me. But here's what you got to get prepared for. Jessica, you ready for this one? This is the point I told you, watch out. I'm sweating. I'm just staring at it. Nehemiah, I'm going to say this in a ghetto term, okay? If y'all don't understand, ask your grandkids. Nehemiah experienced some haters along the way. You're stupid, Nehemiah. Why are you doing this? Man, you're a man. Hey, we're not going to let this happen. Do you know that in every good church there's a fire department? Woo! What do you mean, preacher? In every church there's a fire department. You watch, they'll sprout up. They're like bad weeds in a garden. Somebody will get excited. Group of people get all fired up and they're ready to go to hell with a squirt gun. Good luck. And then you got this group of people, but because it wasn't their idea, it shouldn't happen. Because they don't like the idea, it shouldn't happen. Y'all want to know my philosophy about it? We'll work around you. We'll make a difference with or without you. But in every church, there's a fire department that wants to put out the flames of the church members. We're just going to let that flame grow because hell's at stake and heaven's to gain. We got things to do. So you can either jump on board or jump off board. I just hope you have your life together. Amen. Nehemiah had people that didn't want him to rebuild the wall for the simple fact that it's not our idea. Can I tell you a secret? It doesn't matter whose idea it is, as long as a team of people can get together with the same mindset, the same heart, the same vision, and do it. Amen. We fight over silly stuff in places in churches. Stop. Who cares whose idea it was? If people get saved, who cares? If the church expands, who cares? Give God the glory at the end of the day. We're not writing the story. God is. It's not about us. Right? Can I vent for a second? It's scripture. Have you noticed that we've made Christianity all about us? Have y'all noticed that? We got preachers that preach it's about me. That's not the Bible I read. That's not the Jesus I know. The Christian faith is not about us. It's always been about Jesus. Now, I'm curious, Harvest viewers. Week number 3 as your pastor, week number 7 as your preacher. Do we want to be a church that makes a difference, or do we want to be a church that just comes, sings, preaches, and goes?
Amen.
The question really is this. Do we believe that God is the God of the impossible?
Yes.
We talked about that last week, remember? Does anybody believe with me? Charles, we're going to have to tear up and replace the carpet from all the people that are going to be coming to get saved and be baptized. Let me give you, Jessica, let me give you and Jason a stat. You know all the greatest revivals in history started with children and teenagers? So what if what happened this morning is only the spark that's going to ignite the flame? Come on, somebody. Come on, somebody. What happens? Hey. Y'all get Pentecostal in a second. What happens? And I'm out of time. I got to wrap this up. What happens if God uses a 9-year-old boy that comes forward on Communion Sunday and says, I gave my heart to Jesus, I want you to know about it, but now I want to be obedient? What happens if it spreads?
Amen.
What happens if Connor just catches on fire? Not physically. I mean, his dad's the redhead in the family. We'll let that happen. But it just clicks. And Connor goes to school and he tells all of his classmates, hey, I'm getting baptized on this particular Sunday. You ought to come. And then mom and daddy come. See, that's how revival starts. It starts in the heart of a child that makes a difference because it can. And then Connor brings some friends that bring mommy and daddy. And mommy and daddy get under the gospel. And the gospel begins to convict. And before you know it, ladies and gentlemen, it's just a big cycle of revival that begins to break out because one person stepped out and said, I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to follow Jesus. I'm going to be obedient. I'm going to do what nobody thinks I can do. Adults, we discredit the power and the authority of kids. They're smart.
Yes.
They know how to do math. They have made 5 plus 5 so incredibly complicated. Somebody needs to show those teachers what 5 toes plus 5 toes, 1, 2, 3, work for me. You got to fully involved in, right? Alan, where are you at? There. Award winner, would you please come with me? Can you skip to number 4? That's right after 3. She went to the
I turned it off too.
I said a whole bunch of words. I don't know if it meant nothing to anybody. Alan has left the building. Oh, he's got his own makeup and hairstyles. You don't have much hair to stop. Hey, buddy. Here's what's going to happen. My email's going to blow up this week. By the way, I have business cards and prayer lists and guest cards for all our visitors to fill out. But here's what's going to happen. Somebody's going to take a guest card. They're going to find my email address and they're going to email me. Well, I got all these great ideas that the church should do. Well, here's the problem. What God's burdened you for, He's not burdened the church for. He's burdened you for a purpose to make a difference. But can I give you some pointers along the way? If what you're burdened to do doesn't require God, it's not from God to start with. It's not at all from God. If you have this plan in your head that says, God, I can't do this without you, you better get serious about praying and fasting because it's probably from God, and without Him, you can't do it. Hey, Harvest View, we all look at me. We've been looking at you for 40 minutes. Preacher, we're tired. I know. Harvest View, we can't be the church that God has called us to be unless we put God at the top of our list. If you're excited that the fact that we ran out of communion juice this morning, that's a good thing. In fact, I was the one that didn't get the communion juice, and I'm good with that. But if you think this is as good as it gets, you're sadly mistaken, because I think God's just starting to warm up. Amen? You know, I haven't done this yet. I want to do it now. My mom, my dad, my mother-in-laws, my sister-in-law, my brother-in-law, my niece, like the whole back row on the left side, the last 2 rows, that's all family. My grandmother that you've been praying for, who's my grandfather who passed away, his wife's here this morning. But there's a verse in the Bible that me and my mom laugh at all the time, and I know you're going to think we're sacrilegious and unspiritual people. But it's in the Old Testament, where God put a ditch and turned it into a river. You know what it says? It was easy for God to do that. Did y'all get that? He took a ditch in a desert and turned it into a river, and the very next verse says, and it was easy for God. But it's impossible without Him. That's the God that you serve. That's the God that we worship. Come on, somebody. I'm preaching there and y'all are shouting and it's killing me. If we serve a God who can go to the desert and form a ditch and turn it into a river, my God, what can He do if Harvest View people will just sit back or stand up and clap and shout and say, God, we will be the church that not only talks about being a difference maker, we will make a difference outside the walls of this church. But Denise, you know what God got me this week for? God is not looking for churches, and listen, I am not knocking this, Betsy, don't take this the wrong way. God, y'all hear me. God is not looking for churches to do good Easter egg hunts anymore. Now hear my heart in this. God has been kicking my tail with this. Times have changed. And I'm going to scare some of y'all. Y'all be calling the leadership wanting a meeting. You know what, God, this is what I feel. I don't know. Belinda, you know what God's looking for? Some churches that are going to be bold enough and, oh, God, I feel God all over me right now. I'm about to let it loose, take a chip. Jason, you know why? Kid, you know why I feel God has brought me here? Because He knows I'm crazy enough to rally some people together with me on the team. And man, we're not just going to be difference makers. We're going to shake the gates of hell, baby. And Satan's going to run when he comes and hears about Harvest View. Because we're going to shake some windows. We're going to rattle some cages. And demons going to flee. And Satan's going to leave. Because we're going to make a difference. And Connor being saved is just the start of it. Connor being baptized is just the start. Listen, let me just tell you, if you'll buy into being difference makers and devoted to prayer and devoted to fasting, ladies and gentlemen, the devil won't want to come within 1,000 miles of Harvest View Church, because God has shown up and done great and mighty things that thou knowest not. Amen. But ladies and gentlemen, hold on just a second. We can't do it without Him. Amen. There are a lot of churches. Jennifer, we've been in a lot of churches, haven't we? Do you know you can have churches with good people but not God's presence? Amen. They'll buy you lunch, baby. Woo! Amen. They'll give you Ruth Grain chocolate chip cookies. But God is so far from that church, it's not even funny. Harvest View, may that never be the case here. Here's what God's looking for this morning. some hell cage riders that want to make a difference, and they're not scared of the devil or anybody within 100 miles of them. But I know that within this room, in this place, I'm looking at people that God has given a purpose to, and for whatever reason, you've held out on doing it. And the reason that you're here this morning is to accept God's purpose on your life. Or maybe this morning is to say, God, I'm kicking the haters out. They can be for me and work with me, they can be against me. But if God is for me, who can be against me?
That's right.
If God is on my side, I don't have anything to worry about. Nehemiah didn't. They took a wall that had been dead and burned for 142 years. Ladies and gentlemen, in 52 days, Nehemiah had the wall built. That's the God that we serve.
Amen.
If God can rebuild a wall with a handful of people and a guy named Nehemiah in 52 days because he prayed and fasted first, what could God do at Harvest View Church in 52 days if we prayed and fasted and refused to be normal? I shudder to think what God could do. It's not what God could do, what God will do. It's been a long time since I've had a fire in me about a church like I've got about this one. I got a fire, man. We got a whole bunch of property. Needs a whole lot of buildings on it. Overflowing with people finding and following Jesus. Let me ask you. Some of you are old timers that have come back this morning. Put your seatbelt on. Stay with us. We just get ready. Some of you are first-time guests. Stay here. We just get started. But let me talk to somebody this morning. Did Connor touch your heart this morning? You know what? We could have just dismissed service after the Lord's Supper for all I care, because that made the day. But can you say with confidence, like, is he 9? Can you say with confidence, like Connor said, Pastor, I know Jesus as my Savior? Can you say that? That to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. Can you confidently, that Jesus, I belong to you? And if you're here this morning, I heard some snakes, yes, in the crowd. Again, we keep those off to the left side. But if you sit there this morning and you go, you know what, I'm not sure. I don't know. Or maybe you just flat out went, nope. You can leave this place knowing Jesus. Because as much as we talk about making a difference, I'm going to tell you something real clear and real simple this morning. Jesus is the greatest difference maker that you'll ever encounter. And he wants to know you today. In fact, he's looking for you. He's searching for you. And he's waiting on you to say yes to him. Would you stand with me? Has God wrecked you about something? Has God burdened you about something? Would you stop fighting and just say yes? Maybe you need to join Harvest View Church. Man, there's not a more on fire church in Harford County right now than Harvest View. God is moving. Maybe you need to do like Connor and say, hey, Pastor, I gave my life to Jesus long ago, but I've never been baptized. I think Connor would be okay with some baptismal partners. Now, we won't put you in there together. Don't worry about that. So let me share something with you. And I don't know if this person is here because I don't know who it is. Chris sent me a picture last week. And I wanted to wait until the very end to tell you guys this. last week? God, I hope that they're here this morning. After church had been dismissed, Chris sent me a text, a picture. And it's been a crazy week. But somebody on the back of their card checked last week this box. I prayed to receive Jesus as my Savior last week in church. Now Betsy's going, I'm like, peace? There you go. Betsy said there were 2 cards that marked out. And I just wonder if they're here today. Because I'm going to be so bold and brash, you're going to hate me later. If you would be so brave as to, during this time of invitation, just come up to me and say, Pastor, I'm one of the 2 that said yes to Jesus last week. Why? Why do you want me to do that? It's so intimidating. Those people are ugly. Because we want to cry, we want to shout, we want to clap. Because the Bible says this: all of heaven rejoices when one lost soul comes to Him. And so if heaven shouts and sings and claps and goes crazy, shouldn't the church go crazy? Amen. So if you are one of those 2, or if you haven't checked that card, you've got to check that box because you never did it, I double dog dare you. If you check the box, or if you want to give Jesus your life, I double dog dare you. As we sing and as Alan plays, I double dog dare you to come. I say, Pastor, I checked the box. I gave Jesus my life last week. And Pastor, I'm here this morning because I'm here to give Jesus my heart. And we will celebrate. Hallelujah, brother. You come. Maybe it's to join whatever they need. You come. Going to sing just another stanza or 2, then we'll dismiss. But we'd really like to celebrate with you if you chose Jesus this week. Or if you want to be like Connor, you want to be obedient and follow in baptism. My wife will tell you, I love baptism in Sundays. I like to see how long they can hold it. But I like to see the body of Christ rejoice. So Alan's going to sing a couple more stanzas. And who can give up on the road of love?
There's nothing worth more that will ever come close. Nothing can compare. You're our living hope, Lord. Your Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. Come flood this place and fill the atmosphere. The glory of God is what our hearts long for. To be overcome by your presence, Lord. Presence.
Well, let's celebrate again. One time, Sunday school. Chris, come here, buddy. And I excuse Chris because he's like 6'5". If you're a visitor with us, first time in a really long time, if you'll be so kind, I know, hand raising, we got the window washers, but if you'll just stick your hand up real high so Chris can see this and put one in your hand, or if you made a decision this week and you would like for me to follow up with you, see one of those and we'll get those in your hands. Church family, Chris, we got two good-looking guys on the back row on the opposite side. Church family, can we welcome all of our visitors this morning? And I'm going to ask you, yes, that's right. Hey, if you want to be a difference maker, there is a meeting tomorrow night at 6:30 on all teams. If you're interested in being on anything, helping with BBS, the Easter egg hunt, the pastor search, I'm kidding, you don't need one of those. If you're wanting to help out in any form or fashion, 6:30 in the church office tomorrow night. It's a great place. Everybody is invited. Lord help you all. But I'm going to ask Bruce if he'll dismiss us in prayer. I have business cards. If you would like my contact information, they will be on the back. Love you guys. We'll give Betsy just a second.
Sorry.
That's my fault.
These are the 40-day prayer challenge participants for Lent. If you want to add your name to the list, just let me know. Anybody else? Did I miss?
Let's pray. Dear Father, in